So you get drafted, right? What do the next 2, 3, 4 days to a week look like? Do they send you a plane ticket saying come out? What happens after that?
Yeah, so basically after that, what happened was the next after Coach Shanahan, the next person I heard from was the running backs coach. And he was like, "Man, you thought I kept calling you for nothing?" And I was like, "Coach, I'm gonna be honest with you, like I don't know. I was like, I just thought you was messing around with me, just really calling check." He was like, "Nah, man." He said, "You showed me something at that combine um, that was different." And I told them, like, I gotta have you. And he was like, "Cause you're a very smart kid." And I got off the phone with him, and then from there it was other staff and stuff calling like, "Hey, we got, uh, you know, we're gonna fly you out with all the other draft picks. We're gonna do this whole like fan day thing or whatever, and send you back home so you can get all packed up so you can come back and be in Virginia, um, for the start of our rookie mini camp and all that kind of stuff." And yeah, it was just I wouldn't say it was too hectic because I mean I was a fifth round pick, so it was like I didn't have to fly a lot of places and go do this and go do that and do all these interviews and card signings. I didn't have to do all of that stuff like right away. It just kind of like came slowly, but I was able to just for a couple weeks I was really able to just sit there and just be in that moment and be like, this really is real. Like this really is, happening for me, a kid from Greenville, Florida, that nobody has ever heard about. Um, it was just an amazing experience. And uh, one thing I left out about my rehab through my rehab process, RG3 happened to be rehabbing at the same place in Pensacola, which he was there starting quarterback. He was a Redskins starting quarterback at the time, and I had no clue. Like I ain't gonna lie, I was a little bit of a RG3 fan because watching him in college, like he was killing it.
He was cold. He was
Yeah,
cold
so
back then.
like when I
Yeah.
saw him training and stuff there, because he had tore his ACL that same year, I saw him training and stuff there. Like I never even imagined like in a couple months I would have been his teammate. And literally he's still one of the guys I still talk to, to this day or whatever. But I mean, it was that whole process as a rookie. I mean, there were definitely, some tough times when it came to getting into practices and just the pace of everything. And it's like, boom, here's the playbook. We're going over this stuff for day one in a matter of 40 minutes, an hour, a whole new thing. And then we're going out and we putting it on the field. And just the speed of everything, how fast they move. It was a big transition. And I was, a lot of the stuff I didn't participate in because I was still recovering from my knee. So it was more so like mental. It was more mental training for me than it was physical. But I was still on the side when they were going through plays. I was still on the side, like either running through the plays or running the routes and stuff for RG3 because it was me, him, and tight end Jordan Reed that got drafted the same year as me. We were all still like going through our rehab process and just kind of getting ready for training camp time. But man, I was like, oh man, we going to, because Washington had just had a really good year. Literally, they lost because RG3 got hurt. Um, but I was like, oh yeah, we about to go to the Super Bowl. I was like, I'm gonna get back right. I said, we got Jordan Reed. I had played against him for 4 years when he was at Florida. So I'm like, I already knew what he was about, and hadn't really lost many players. And I was like, oh yeah, we about to do this thing. And it was not. That rookie year did not go well. We won 2 games that whole year. Yeah, it was a rough start to my season, but for me to make the team that year was also a journey. Because when you get drafted, that doesn't necessarily mean you're gonna make the 53-man roster. You probably be on practice squad, something like that. And we were in the third preseason game, and I had just started the second preseason game I was able to start playing again, and I played in that game. I actually got hurt in that second preseason game. First time out there, got hurt again. I didn't know how serious it was at the time. I didn't even tell them about it because I was like, I can't be hurt again. This will be my 3rd year in a row. This is not happening to me, and I just got drafted. So I didn't tell them about it at all. We get into the third preseason game, and they were like, Chris, go catch a punt. And I was like, huh? They were like, yeah, go back there, go catch a punt. Let me see what you can do. I hadn't caught punts since I was in a game. I hadn't caught punts since my senior year of high school. So I'm 5 years removed from doing this. I go back there, the punter kicked he shanked the kick. He kicked maybe a 35-yard punt or something. So I'm running to go catch it. I don't even know what I was thinking. I should have called a fair catch. For some reason, the whole punt team seemed like, when I was sprinting up for the ball, it seemed like the whole punt team spread out and allowed me to catch it. I didn't call a fair catch. So I'm sprinting up, I catch it, I run and get 15 yards. And I got to the sideline, they were like, Chris, what's wrong with you? Why you ain't call a fair catch? I was like, man, I don't know. I was nervous. And I was just like, I got to catch this ball more than anything else. I wasn't thinking about getting hit, anything like that. And yeah, that was pretty much it for that game. We get to the last preseason game. Last preseason usually for the younger guys to kind of prove themselves or whatever. So I think I ended up getting that running back. I was supposed to play running back from the second quarter through the rest of the game. And got a couple plays in at running back. Again, they were like, Chris, you want to go catch punts? I was like, all right, I'll do it, whatever. So first punt come, I let it roll. It was a little bit of a shorter punt. I tried to sprint up to catch it. I was like, nah, I can't get it. So I jumped out the way, just kind of let it roll or whatever. I got yelled at on the sideline, but I was just like, whatever. I ain't been back here, you know what I'm saying, in years consistently. I'm going to just let it be what it is. So then second punt comes around. They was like, Chris, I think this might have been in the third quarter. And they were like, go back there and catch this punt again. So I went back there. This time it was a good, solid punt. Caught the punt. I think I took it for 60 yards for a touchdown. And I get to the sideline, and my running backs coach came to me and was like, he said it real soft and real just nonchalant. He was like, you're done. And I was like, huh? He was like, you're done. I was like, all right. I don't know what that means, but okay. And so then the older guys came over, the other running backs came over to me. They was like, did what Bobby T just told you? I was like, well, he just told me I was done. And they was like, all right, well, congrats. I was like, huh? They say, you just made the team. I was like, nah, no way. He was like, yeah, whenever you hear a coach tell you that you're done and you're still supposed to be playing, you done made the team. Congrats. And I was like, oh man, that's crazy. Cause whole time, like, their plan, and even Coach Shanahan told me, like, the plan was for me to, this was literally what he said. I want you to sit back, just get healthy. And then, cause you're one of those guys that are like, like Santana Moss. That's what he said. Now I know who Santana Moss is. I know I ain't on Santana Moss type level. You know what I'm saying? But I know what he just kind of meant, like, I want to use you, I want to move you around a lot. I want to use you in a lot of different positions or whatever, but I just want you to sit back for this first year and get healthy. All right. And then we get into that last preseason game. I make a play on punt return, and then they were like, we're going to have to scratch that. We need you on this 53. And that's basically how I made the team. And then didn't even know, like, I didn't know how different the speed of preseason and regular season, totally different. But I didn't know how bad my injury was that I suffered in the second game, the second preseason game. And we get more and more into the season. I waited until I made the team to then be like, oh, my shoulder kind of hurting me a little bit. So, so they started like doing some treatment on it. I was like, all right, I feel good. I'm all right. And so it started bothering me like constantly. So we did an MRI on it. They told me I tore my labrum. That's the season ending. You gotta get surgery type thing. But a lot of times you can play through it. So I was like, all right, just let me play through it. Just do what you gotta do so I can just go through every game so I can play through it. And I got through, I want to say like 5 or 6 games. And we were in practice one day. I tried to go up and catch a pass, and my shoulder like dislocated again. And that time it was like bad. It hurt like real bad. And I was like, yeah, I can't do this again. I ended up finishing practice, and then afterwards I was like, hey, this thing hurts like real bad. I can't do this. And I called my agent and I told him, and he was like, look, I know this is not what you want to do, but we need to call it up and we need to go in and get surgery, and you start getting ready for next year. And that was it. So we're talking about 3 straight years, season-ending injuries. And yeah.
Damn, man.
Yeah, it was rough.
Okay, so your rookie year was 2013, right?
13, yeah.
Okay.
Yep.
So now we like to pocket watch over here at Creative Moments, man. What did your first contract look like and your first signing bonus, man?
I think my contract was like, it's like 4 years, like $2 million or something like that.
Okay.
The signing bonus was like 180,000, something like that.
Okay.
But I also didn't know about taxes, and I didn't know about Virginia taxes as well.
Yeah, they're gonna slap your head.
Yeah,
boy.
so basically everything, everything was basically like cut in half. So I think I saw like 80,000 or something of that signing bonus. And then, I got the salary for the contract is not split evenly. It's, you get a certain amount one year and then it goes up every year to reach whatever your contract, you get the most at the end in your 4th year. You get the most, you make the most money or whatever. So more money than I ever seen before in my life though, regardless. But NFL standards is not a lot. It's the low of the low. Not as bad as practice squad, but at the lower levels. But it was good. I just, you know, didn't know much about money. Got a lot of, I got a lot of money and didn't know about how to truly like manage money and where money should go and should it just sit. I had just money just sitting in my checking account, not knowing about it. I didn't know nothing about investing and all that kind of stuff. But yeah, that was it. It's a lot of money because, like I said, I never seen that much money before. But NFL standards, it was nothing.
So it's safe to say you ain't go blow it on nothing. You just stacked it up, or did you ever have a check that you was like, nah, I'm finna blow this?
I never blew it because I never really like had a desire for a lot. I'm just more like a gadget person, so I want the latest phone, I want the latest video game consoles, and the latest TVs and stuff like that. But outside of that, the other stuff, I don't really care about. Like the jewelry, the chains, and all that kind of stuff. That's not something I ever really cared about. So I didn't spend it on that. Now, when it comes to family, girlfriend, all that kind of stuff, now that's where I do whatever for. And I had no limits, which it came back to bite me in the long run, some years down the line. But yeah, that was it. I never, it wasn't you ain't see no chains on me. You never seen, any of that. If you came in the house, you're gonna see I got the new whatever TV. And all the gaming consoles and stuff like that. But nah, I never blew money other than on if it came to family members and stuff like that.
Man, this is a real humble guy, man. If you would have saw what he pulled up in, you wouldn't believe nothing he just said, man. When he pulled up, I was like, oh, there go Chris.
Yeah, no, that's now one thing I've always been like, my money, where my money is gonna go is in my house and if I'm in my cars. And then outside of that, it's gonna be my lady and my kids. I always say, like, you'll never know what I do for a living, but you look at them, you'll really get an idea, because that's where all my stuff goes. I don't care a lot about me, which a lot of times my lady, she's always like, why you don't just buy stuff for yourself? Why don't you get this? Why don't you get that chain or this jewelry and stuff? I'm just like, I know if I get it, I'm not gonna wear it because I just don't care for it. That's like not my thing. Clothes and shoes, not my thing. Now, for my family, for my kids, absolutely. But for me, it's just like, it's nothing.
You kind of like me. You like to buy shut up. That's what I call it. I call it buying shut up. Shoot, I love to buy me some shut up. If I can, I know I'm gonna be straight, but if I can use this money to get you to shut up, I'll buy some shut up every time, boy. So, what was your welcome to the NFL moment, man?
The play that I hurt my shoulder my rookie year. I got hit hard on that play. It was like a little inside run play. I think it was the very first carry I had too, or maybe the second. And I went downhill trying to fight for a couple yards, and a linebacker and safety came downhill and smacked me. And I was like, oh God, boy, I don't know if I'm gonna be able to take these hits for years. Yeah, that was it for sure.
Okay, so you get put on IR your rookie season, man. What is it like being on IR? Like, how do your responsibilities change as an NFL player being on IR?
One, it depends on your coaches. It's basically you go in, you you have to get there earlier than all the guys that are healthy. So you gotta get there like early morning to do all of your rehab and treatment, whatever you got to get done. You gotta get there before everybody else. After that, after you've done that, sometimes it's multiple sessions you have to come in for, depending on the severity of your injury. And outside of that, it's really honestly based on your coaches. So my running backs coach was very cool dude. He had been coaching for years too, and his thing was, go do your treatment, take care of everything you need to take care of there, and just come say hey to me at least once or twice a week. Outside of that, you can go home. You can go do whatever you need to do. Just don't miss your treatment sessions. Don't miss your rehab, all that kind of stuff. Wherever you need to be for that stuff, get there. As far as meetings, team meeting, all that stuff, I don't need to see you. Just come speak to me so I know you alive. Boom. That's it. So it was pretty simple. I spent a lot of time home, spent a lot of time just playing video games and stuff like that. But sometimes, you can have some coaching staffs where they're like, hey, once you finish your rehab and stuff, you're gonna be in meetings, you're gonna be you don't come to practice, but come to everything else type deal. So it's like you're basically still in it. But he was just like, nah, I just need to see you every now and then and go enjoy yourself. Cause he was, he felt that, we been playing ball our whole lives, and I think his thought process was, you being injured right now, probably the most time you done had to yourself for a while, or that you can have to yourself for a while. So go on and take that time and get away and just be away. And so I did that. So yeah, so it was cool. Like it was a breeze to me. It wasn't it wasn't a lot of, they didn't put pressure on me or anything like that. Like he just let me be.
Yeah, I think that's good, man. A lot of times people will get burnt out and lose their love for the game. Being able to just go to rehab, working on your injury, and then now you got to be at every meeting. Now you got to be at every, now you're
Right.
taking all these mental reps that you can't take
Yep.
you can't take no physical reps, and you be done kind of start to lose your love for the game because you can't be in it in a physical
Yeah.
aspect. It just feel like you going to school.
Yeah.
Yeah, man.
Yeah. And yeah, so I appreciate him for that. Like, but sometimes other guys, some guys gotta be in it all the time or they lose their mind. Where they like, no, I gotta go to meetings. I gotta go out to practice, even though I'm not playing. Cause if I go home, then I'ma just be in my head all day. I was the complete opposite. Like, you say I can go home and, take a rest and stuff from this, cool. But it was because I knew myself, and I knew like, when I come back, I'm gonna be locked in, like no other type deal. I'm gonna do everything I need to do to get back, and then when I'm back and they say I'm back in it, then it's go time.
So 6 seasons with the Redskins, man. What was your biggest moment in playing for that team, man? What was your favorite moment? What was your biggest moment?
Um, I would probably say all of 2007, my 2017 season. It was the best season of my career. I got my first and only NFL start of my career in 2017 against San Francisco, and I think I had 140 total yards in that game. So it was like, I'll never forget that year. I mean, social media and YouTube will never let me forget that year either, but Because you know it was the best. I really got to show what I was capable of that year because I got more reps. Like I said, I got my first start ever, which I actually fumbled on the very first play of the game, which is crazy. Yeah, and I've never like had a fumbling problem. I fumbled the first play of the game, and thankfully it wasn't a turnover. Trent Williams saved me, but yeah. But after that, like I was putting in work, but yeah, I'll never forget that year. That was also the year that I signed my second contract. I signed my second contract in July of that year, right before training camp. Yeah, so that was just that whole year in itself was just life changing for me. I remember all those games for sure. It was life altering as well. Just in a sense, like I had another season ending injury that year, and which really took a toll on my career as a whole. Probably the worst injury I've ever had to deal with and try to recover from. And I'm still not, like, I still deal with it to this day. Only injury I've had that I'm still dealing with to this day, and that was 6 years ago. Yeah.
And what was that? What'd you hurt, man?
I broke my fibula, so basically the ankle area, like right above the ankle, and I have a metal plate and stuff in it, but that, I mean, took a toll on my speed, how my body recovers. I literally could only practice like 2 straight days before, and then I would need a rest day. And I was always like, I never miss. I can't think of the last time I had practice injury. Like I never had like issues like missing practices and stuff. Now in the games I might get hurt, but practices I never had anything. But it was like every 2 days I literally had to take a break because it just hurt so bad, and I never like got right. I was never right since then. Thankfully, I was still able to play for 3 more years after that injury. But that took a toll. That took a big hit on me.
Okay, so after what was it, 6 seasons with the Redskins, right? You signed the second contract after 4 seasons. Now you know we like the pocket watch. You can't say the word contract without us asking what it was looking like, man. What was that second contract looking like, man?
It was a 3-year extension, with a max of 11. But there were a lot of stipulations. There was a lot of why I say a max of, because there were playtime clauses, receptions, yards, everything. A lot of the stuff that most guys get. Mine was kind of on a higher end, which was kind of based on like I would hit my maxes basically if I started and if I didn't miss any time. And business is business, so I think part of it was like we kind of know he not gonna start, and there's a chance that he's gonna get hurt because he hasn't had a lot of healthy seasons, fully healthy seasons. So a lot of it I didn't see, but I saw enough of it, which totally grateful for. Like I said, I don't require a lot. I may give a lot, but I don't for me, I don't require a lot. So yeah, so that was that.
So free agency, man. So how did you end up leaving the Redskins? Was it like a injury that pushed you out, or did they just call you in the office one day and when they're just like, man, we're gonna go a different direction?
Yeah, so thankfully I played out my all my years in Washington. I didn't get cut or whatever. Actually, I did my second year after my rookie injury. I did end up getting cut or whatever, but um, I ended up getting back on the team like a week later. But yeah, I played out all my years there, finished my contract out, and our head coach at the time, Jay Gruden, who had been my head coach since my second year, he he got fired. And so it was kind of like I kind of knew the writing was on the wall at that point. Like basically, a lot of times when new coaches come in, they're gonna get the older guys out first, or guys that have had a lot of injuries and stuff like that. They're gonna kind of move on with them. Thankfully, like for me, I kind of had a feeling, but the first person that reached out to me and told me was the owner. Dan Snyder texted me and was like, Chris, I appreciate everything, you've done for our organization, for being, such a great guy in the building with the fans, all that kind of stuff, which to me meant a lot. And I know like I know he doesn't reach out to every single player like that. So for him to say that, like, it meant a lot. But it was also like, dang, that kind of solidified, like, this is it for me. I've been here for so long. Now I gotta find a new home. But I kind of felt like that was gonna happen. But I was holding on a little bit for hope. Cause even when Ron Rivera had his first press conference and stuff, I went to the press conference with it was me, Adrian Peterson, and some other guys, because I knew like his type. He was just with Christian McCaffrey for years, which we kind of got similar. The skill set, I would say, can run the ball, catch, run routes, all that kind of stuff. So I was like, it may be a chance that maybe he did. But once Dan Snyder sent me that message, I was like, all right, well, that's pretty much it. So I was able to accept it. Like, it is what it is. I understood it. I think I was about to turn 30, so it was like, yeah.
Okay, so free agency, man. What's that like? Like, is it just sitting waiting by the phone, working out until somebody calls you or your agent, or do you reach out to teams and let them know, hey, I would be interested in playing for y'all, or how does that work?
So basically, your agent kind of handles all of that. You basically treat it like you would any other off season, or for me, I did. I treated it like any other off season, where I still was training and getting myself prepared for the season, because I knew that I knew the opportunity would come because of my resume and what I had done. Like, I knew it would come. So I was just training, working out and stuff. And I basically like told my agent, I was like, look, don't call me unless somebody's calling with something serious. Because a lot of times, agents tend to keep open communication with like, oh, this team called, they say they interested, all that kind of stuff. And I was like, until they ready to really talk and put a contract down, I ain't trying to hear it. And I also just kind of, I had some connections too, given I was in Washington for so long, and we had what, one, two, three or four coaches had left and become either offensive coordinators or head coaches at some other teams. So I was like, I know some opportunities are gonna be there for me. So I reached out. I reached out to a couple of them, and just to kind of be like, hey, I'm open. If y'all need somebody, if y'all gonna take somebody, whatever, just keep me in mind. And they all like they responded and kept it completely honest with me, where it was like, all right, we're gonna wait till after the draft, and then kind of see what we want to do after that. And even was it I think Kevin O'Connell at the time, he had just left to be the offensive coordinator at the Rams, so he was there with Sean McVay. And he was like, man, we're honestly, we're looking at your Florida State guy, Cam Akers, over there. And he was like, if we get him, then we may not take you, but if we don't get him, then, we'll let you know something. I was like, all right, cool, I appreciate that. But then my old head coach, Jay Gruden, he ended up getting hired as the Jags offensive coordinator. So then I was like, boom, I know that's a done deal. And literally after he got signed, he called me and was like, hey, go on and get ready to sign this contract. And I was like, all right. All right, bet. Because we had such a good relationship with each other, where I knew, like, wherever Jay goes, he's definitely gonna reach out and see if he could bring me along with him, and he did. So
you signed with the Jags during the 2020 COVID season, right?
Yep.
Boom. Okay, so how was the NFL different compared to 2019, 2018, 2017? Like, I know y'all didn't have a preseason, but what was it like from the inside looking out?
It was, personally, it was amazing for me. Like, I loved it. I didn't like the part of, like, it got a little tiring, like having to go in meetings and in practices, like wearing the mask and stuff, because you get tired. And it's like, when we were in practice, you would have to, like, if you took your helmet off to like get some water or something, like, you literally drink your water, put your mask on. And it was like, man, like, I can't, it's hard to breathe. You know what I'm saying? It's hard to breathe in this thing, but I get it, So I did it, but that was probably the toughest thing, being in the meetings. A lot of times we had to wear the mask and stuff all the time. But what I did love about it is I had just had my daughter. So, and she wasn't even 1 yet. She was like 8 months old, I think, when training camp started. So I was able to, like, be home and be with her a lot, because a lot of times our meetings were over Zoom calls and stuff. So I was able to sit there, like, watch film and stuff, but have her sitting in my lap. So I got to, like, spend a lot of time with her. And the only time we had to go to the facility was to practice for a while. And then, so I enjoyed that time, just being able to, be home, be with my daughter and stuff. And as the season went on, they started changing the rules a little bit, where then we had to go in meetings, or it was just kind of based on what the coach wanted to do. And I think they did a really good job of kind of allowing us to be in the building and also be at home kind of an equal amount of time or whatever, where we're not, around each other and possibly spreading COVID or whatever. And yeah, that was pretty much it. It just kind of sucked, just like practices, having to, like, wear the mask and stuff at practices and stuff like that. And then I had to, because I had a young kid in the house, I had to, like, stay away from everybody. So, like, obviously I had to get in the huddle to call the plays and stuff, but when I was on the side, when I was on the sideline, not in, I stayed away from everybody. You know, because I wasn't trying to get that to my daughter and stuff. But yeah, that was the biggest difference. And then it was just like, it's weird because you didn't really know how people look. Going on a new team, you didn't really know how people look. I knew how they looked more with the mask on than when they had it off, you know? So it was like a couple of my teammates, like, I seen, and I was like, who are you? I didn't even know who, you know what I'm saying? I didn't know who they were because I was so used to seeing them all with their mask on, and you know, being able to build that camaraderie and stuff kind of took a hit because you can't spend time with each other. You can't be around each other. So like being on a new team, you know, it kind of sucked in that sense where I couldn't really get to know these cats because if they see us outside with each other or something, they gonna be like, nah, go your separate ways type deal. But other than that, like, I mean, it was cool. I like being at home anyway, so like that's why I was like, it was cool. I had my daughter too, so I was cool. And then like I was 8 years in at the time, so it was like I felt like I didn't need to physically be in the meeting room to learn and to watch film and all that kind of stuff. Like I've been in it for a while. I know I got my own process. I know what to do. I know, you know, I know everything. And I've been in this offense now I have been in the offense for 7 years. So it's like I really, you know what's expected of me. So like I didn't, you know, I'm okay not being in the meetings, having to physically be in the meeting rooms and all that kind of stuff.
So the average career in the NFL is what, like 3.5, 4
Yeah.
years, right? So you played what, 8, 9 seasons?
Nine.
9 seasons. What's the key to longevity in the league, man? Because obviously then you did it at running back. So
Yeah.
obviously, man, you got the key to longevity, man. So what is it?
I hear a lot of people say like it's hard to stay in the league, it's easy to stay in. It's hard to get in the league, it's easy to stay in. And what I would say about that is, you know, it's 1,300 people in the whole world get to do this thing for a living. So it's a very, very, very small percentage. But once you get in, it's more so about your consistency, really figuring out what makes you you, and just your growth as a human being. Because all of us are on our college teams and we're that guy on our team. When you get to the NFL, it's a team full of guys that were that guy on their teams, all just, you know what I'm saying, 63 of the best on all these college teams on, you know what I'm saying, on one team together. And you gotta figure out what makes you you and be as consistent as possible as you can in that. And when I say what makes you you is what makes you different, what makes you stand out from the other guys in your position, what makes you different. You can't go into the league or your team and be like, oh, I was the starter there, I'm gonna start at safety, I'm gonna start at running back here. Don't work like that. A lot of times, if you're not the first, second round pick, a lot of times they already got their guys. They're bringing you in to fill a specific role. If they need you to start, then they need to have the confidence that you know that you can go in there and do what you need to do. A lot of times, doing what you need to do is not even making plays. It's just not having missed assignments, not doing the wrong thing. So for me, it was what made me who I was my ability to pass block, being that I was a smaller frame guy, my ability to run routes, and my ability to catch the ball effectively. Those were the three things that made me different. And then this is what made me different than a lot of the other guys. Cause one thing for sure, you were hardly ever gonna outsmart me on the field. And when I say that, I mean opposing defenses. You're not gonna give me looks that I'm not used to seeing. If you do give me a look that I'm not used to seeing, I'm gonna adjust to it pretty fast. I listen to everything. I know your play calls. I sit there, I'm studying during the games. And so if I keep hearing you giving certain play calls, I'm paying attention to what all 11 guys doing when you call that. Because usually the linebackers are the play callers, or they adjust the plays and stuff like that. And that's what helped me to stay in the league. So even though I had all those injuries, it was one of those things where they knew, like, if we got Chris out there on the field, one, he gives a different element to the game because he can run routes, he can do all that, he can pass block as well. Obviously, he's a running back, so he can run the ball good enough. But it's that other stuff that makes him different. And I felt like I was always able to maximize that and to give those coaches confidence that I can do it. And relationships plays a big role in it too, because if you get good with some of these coaches, you will play way beyond your years. And that's just truth. That's just truth in a lot of situations where a lot of guys will tell you, like, I still shouldn't have been playing. But because I was good with these coaches, I had good relationships, they knew what I could do, they trusted me to do my job. Although I lost a step, they know I'm going to still be in the right spots, put myself in the right positions, or put other people in their right positions. Because a lot of times, like, I would be in games or something with new receivers, or maybe it's just crunch time or something, and receivers may forget something. Usually not tight ends, but a lot of times, like, receivers may forget what route they got or something like that. We put something in brand new or whatever, but I was that guy where, like, they could ask me and I know what everybody got to do. That's something that makes you different, makes you stand out from the rest. I was never a starter. I've been a starter from middle school all the way through college. Then I get to the league and in 9 years, I got one NFL start. So it's not, you know what I'm saying? It's not about being the starter and being that superstar. It's finding that niche, finding that what makes you who you are, and just try to maximize that. Like, it would be all fine and dandy if I was the starter and making whatever, you know what I'm saying, top dollar, where I'm like, nah, you got to pay me like the top 5 highest paid running back. That's nice and all, but, I also wanted longevity. I wanted to be able to be 30 plus, and they bringing in other young running backs, and I'm like, all right, let me come here. Let me teach you what I know. Let me help you be the best that you can be, because that's what it's all about. To me, that's the other level to it. Yeah, we want to, number one, make sure we put our families, we do this so we can make the money, make sure we put our families in some good situations or whatever. But outside of that, is helping those young guys just, be able to do the same. And that's why I'm grateful that I was able to play for so long. And, hopefully I helped some guys. I felt like I did a pretty good job, but, helping some guys come along and, make good decisions, because it's a lot of stuff out there when you're Though when you're an NFL player, it's a lot of stuff that comes with that or whatever. But yeah, that's it.
Gotcha. Okay, so you played 9 seasons, right? Did you get the NFL pension?
So the way that the pension works now is you get that you can start getting that after 3 years, after three active seasons, and from there the amount of money that you get just keeps adding up, just keeps getting higher and higher, and then from there you can start getting that money. I think 50 something, at 50 something, I believe 55 or something like that, where you can start getting that pension.
Oh, so you pretty much set, huh? When you hit 50 or so. With
Yeah, yeah. It's putting money into your like 401k and the pension stuff, because the owners have to like match whatever you put in your 401k. They have to match it. So if you like max out your 401k every year, it's basically you're getting double, which in the long run it sets you up. But a part of that, you see a lot of guys, even me, like my first 2 years, I don't think I did it because I was like, I ain't putting money into this. I want my money. I like having my money. I'm not about to put it into, but being young, you don't think about the long term. And a lot of guys don't think about long term until they start to hit 30, and then they're like, oh, my career about to be over. Maybe I should start, making these moves or whatever. And it's too late by then. But thankfully, I had some vet guys around me that was like, nah, what you doing? You need to go on and put this max in, because that junk gonna pay off in some years when you get that money. So
what made you hang up the cleats, man? Were you just tired of it by the 9th season? What made you not want to go to 10, brother?
it was a little bit of the opportunity, starting to get less opportunities. Um, it was also, I kind of told myself, where if I ever get to a point where I play for multiple teams in one season, that's a sign for me I need to hang it up and keep it moving. So my last year was, I had a tryout for Chicago. Went to Chicago, did the tryout, ended up like doing better than all the guys there, so they were like considering signing me or whatever. So it ended up actually falling through for whatever reason, I don't know. But they ended up not taking me, and I was getting ready to fly back home. I get in Chicago's airport, my agent called me, and he was like, San Francisco said you need to come there right away. And I was like, all right. He was like, so tell your family you're not coming home, you got to go to California. So yeah, so I went from Chicago straight to San Francisco. Got there, they signed me right away. I ain't do didn't need to work out or anything. They signed me right away. I was there for, I want to say maybe 4 or 5 weeks. And then they cut me. So then, after they released me, I got home. I was home for maybe, I want to say maybe a week, maybe 2 weeks at the most. And my agent called me and was like, oh, Chicago calling back. They want you to come work out again. I was like, all right. I said, but I was just up there like a month ago, a little over a month ago. They've seen me. Why do I need to go work out again? He was like, I agree, but they want you to come up there, go again. So I was like, all right, whatever. So I went back up, did the workout again, ended up performing better or whatever. I think it was out of me and another guy that they wanted to take at the time. And I ended up signing with Chicago. Then I was there for a good little bit, almost to the end of the season. And then my family came to visit. This was kind of a turning point for me where they came to visit. It was like a week before Christmas. And when they left, I drove them back to the airport. And when I was leaving, my son started crying. And he was 12 at the time. I think 12. And he has never, ever, ever cried when it came to anything to do with me in football, ever. He didn't want me to go. And he was clearly missing me. And he's not very good with his emotions, but he couldn't hold it in that day. And after that, it was just kind of like, that hit me hard where I was just like, I think it's about time for me to hang it up because now he's feeling it. My daughter's still young. She's fine. But now it's starting to hit him. And it was crazy. It was weird because I think I dropped him off on a Monday. And I think I had to go get my hair cut. She gets home, my family gets home, and I went and got my hair cut. Called my lady, and after I got my hair cut, I was like, man, I don't know, something just don't feel right about today. She was like, what you mean? I said, I don't know, it just don't feel right. Like I feel like something's about to happen. And when I meant something, I felt like I was about to get a phone call, they were gonna release me. And she was like, nah, don't put that out there. Like, you're fine, whatever. And literally 5 minutes later, I got a call from the GM while I was on the phone with her. And I was like, hey, I got to call you back. Get the call. I answered the phone. Got that call. He was like, yeah, we got to release you. It was some other injury stuff going on where whatever. So a lot of times they have to let go somebody else to bring in somebody for a different position and all this kind of stuff. And I was like, all right, I get it. Like I totally understand. So I called back and I was like, hey, I'm coming home. And then like it hurt. I definitely cried about that one because I really enjoyed like being in Chicago. So that one like really kind of broke me a little bit where then I was like, one, kid crying that he don't want me to leave. Two, I enjoyed this place and then I just kind of got the boot just like that, just out of nowhere when I felt like things were like on a up and up for me. Like I thought I was gonna be solid and be cool here or whatever. And so I got home, I was like, look, I'm done. I'm not doing this anymore. That's it. So then my girl was like, well, you need to call your agent and you need to just, let him know what you're gonna do or whatever. Cause he would call sometimes, I wouldn't answer the phone cause I wasn't ready to tell him or whatever. But I still kind of wanted to keep the option open just in case something came about. And it might have been right after Christmas. Baltimore called and they wanted me to come work out and potentially, because they need to sign somebody. I think it was either some injuries or some players were sick or something like that. So I was like, nah, I'm not doing it. I'm done. I ain't doing it. I hadn't been like working out, training really. I hadn't really been doing anything because in my head I was done. But my girl, she's from Baltimore, so she was like, I think you should take it. It's Baltimore, we'll be a little bit kind of close to home. We can find some nice places or whatever there. And I was like, all right, only because you're telling me, you're convincing me, like, all right, I'm gonna go take it. So I went there, did the workout, and ended up like doing better than everybody they would consider signing me or whatever. They had sent everybody else that worked out, they had sent them all home. They told me to go and chill, wait at the hotel. I was sitting at the hotel for a day and a half, almost 2 days. And they called and were like, we kind of decided we're not gonna take anybody right now. And I was like, what? And he was like, yeah, I apologize. He was like, how are you feeling right now? I was like, man, I said, honestly, I feel like I wasted my time like sitting here right now at this hotel where I could have been home, with my family instead of sitting here, and then a decision is made that I won't get signed. Like, I was like, I've been playing I was like, this is my 9th year right now. I was like, I'm not a young guy. Like, I know what I can do. I know what I'm capable of. I know and understand how this business is. Like, y'all should have just told me right away, and I could have just went back home or whatever. They apologized, and because I know they're like one of the best organizations in the league when it comes to their treatment to players and stuff like that. So he like genuinely apologized and stuff like that. And I was like, all right, well, I appreciate the opportunity. I'm gonna go back home or whatever. And then after that, I was like, yeah, this is definitely it. I done got to a point where it's been multiple teams in a season, and now I've gotten this like, oh, we changed our mind about signing anybody. I had never gone through this process before. This was my first time going through this whole process and stuff before in 8 years. And I was like, nah, I can't do this. And I couldn't imagine how some of these like younger guys feel that have to go through this, where they're on multiple teams still trying to find their way. Like, I feel for them, because I was just like, I'm good on that. Like, I can't do it. And but I think if I would have been 24 or 25 years old, I would have definitely been like, yeah, let me keep going, because I got something I need to get. But I had everything I wanted at that point. I was like, I'm good on it.
So, in today's current NFL, man, running backs don't get paid as much as even like the 4th receiver on the depth chart right now. Why do you think the running back position has been so devalued in recent years?
One, I think it's just the the reality of it is just the pounding that we take every single play we hitting somebody. So I know that definitely is part of it. I joke all the time and say that I blame Kyle Shanahan for it as well, but because him and Mike McDaniel and Sean McVay and all those cats, like, because they're such like geniuses when it comes to putting running backs in the right positions, I think the game is starting to change where they like, we can plug and play anybody. Cause I mean, you look at Kyle Shanahan, for years, he have all kind of guys that you like, who is this? Who is this running back right here? And or he's like a 6, 7 round draft pick, something like that, and just straight balling out, having 1,000-yard seasons, all this kind of stuff. And I really do think that really does like play a part in it, because they've really been able to show like, if you got the right system, you can plug and play kind of anybody. You don't really need that guy that you got to spend all this money on, that, they feel with all the injuries and all the hitting and stuff we do after over a 5 or 6 years or whatever, body's probably going to be broken down. It's also like when you see guys with unfortunate situations, like I'll use Todd Gurley, for example. He took a lot. He went through a lot. He had a lot of injuries. Then he got paid. He had that knee injury that never recovered, and they had to pay him all of that money. They start to look at that stuff. They start to look at the history of things like that happening. They look at Zeke. I'll use Zeke, for example. He got paid a boatload, and then they were like, oh, he not the same no more. But in my opinion, I don't think it wasn't that he wasn't the same. It was just the fact that, one, Tony Pollard joined the team. This is around the time Tony Pollard joined the team, and Tony's a really good running back. So he's taking some of that from him, where now teams can zone in and be like, and stop Zeke in the run game, and sometimes the reality of it, every guy's not going to consistently have 1,400-yard seasons. Like everybody's going to have a down season here and there, but sometimes you got to look at the bigger picture. But if you don't give 1,000 yards, you lost it. That's just what it seems like the whole thought process is. If you're not giving me 1,000 every year, you're done. Same with Christian McCaffrey too. I think it was 2 years ago. Last year, he started having those injuries, and people were like, oh, his body's starting to tear down. Now, everybody's like, oh, he's in the MVP conversation. Everybody, guys they're gonna have injuries. For the NFL, injury of playing football, period. The chance of injury is 100%. You're gonna get hurt. That's just the reality of it. But I think it's a lot of those factors that have changed. And then the game is changing to more of a passing league, in my opinion. So they're starting to look for like those just every down, like true running backs are starting to be less and less. Where now, like, a lot of teams are looking for that. They're going to running back by committee. So 2 or 3 guy rotations that most teams are going with now, because when you have that other running back that gives a different element, that's a whole nother game plan defensive coordinators have to plan for. And I think all of those factors, all of those things just play a part in it. I don't agree with it, because reality of it, if you don't have a good running back, your team is not going to be successful unless you got Patrick Mahomes or, you know what I'm saying, one of the like top 5 guys in the league. But outside of that, you're not going to be successful if you don't have a run game. But I think it's a lot of the plug and play and looking at the long term, 5 or 6 years, they won't be worth it at that point.
I think what a lot of people don't realize is, like, running backs have attempts like throughout the season. Like, you'll have 300 attempts, and you get 10 touchdowns. That means you got tackled and hit by a couple of the biggest, hardest hitting motherfuckers on the team 290 times throughout the season. Yep. You know what I'm saying? And a lot of people don't realize that. Like, say you're a receiver and you get 60 catches. All right, you got hit 60 times by a safety or a corner. But running backs got hit 300 times this season by the hardest hitting motherfuckers on the team. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So it's kind of a catch-22.
Yeah.
Like, the reason that the position is devalued is the reason why it should be valued. Because y'all get the hardest yards, but y'all also devalued because y'all get the hardest yards. You know what I'm saying? It's a catch-22, man. So I got a few more questions for you, brother, and I'm going to let you get out of here, man. So, a lot of players, they say most players, 2 to 3 years after they leave the league, they usually go broke. What are you doing to beat the odds? What did you do to beat those odds?
Truth moment. I've been that guy. I was that guy playing in the league.
Really?
Yep. In my 3rd year in the league. I was that guy. Because I was, like I said, I didn't do a lot for myself, but girlfriend, family, all of that. I was just like, all right, yes, you got it. Boom. I ran into a situation where I don't want to go too deep, but I ran into a situation with a girl who's, girlfriend, ex, and ran into a situation where I was careless on my part on what was going on, and it put me in a real tough situation where I didn't have anything. Thankfully, over time, I was able to recover some of it and be able to take care of myself. But yeah, I was a broke NFL player 3 years into the league because of making careless decisions. And that's why I haven't fallen into that trap, because I was in that trap and I got myself out of it. And I said I would never, ever, ever put myself in that position again. Thankfully, I was able to, like I said before, I was able to get a second contract and play for a couple more years and, be able to bounce back from that. But yeah, that is why so not having anything scares the life out of me. And, I really, I got the right support system at home right now that's like, nah, it's time to say no. Or it's like, nah, we not doing that. Which I'm very appreciative of her for, but yeah, every chance I get, I try to tell people, like, I'm not afraid to say, like, I was that 30 for 30 broke. I was that guy while I was playing. And I said, after that, I would never, I won't say never, because anything can happen. But if it's under my control, I would never put myself in that situation. I would never allow something like that ever to happen again.
Back and do anything differently, whether it be from your playing days or just life in general, what would it be?
I would say to be free, be more open-minded, open up more. I was still kind of am. I've always been like in my head all the time, where I can't do this, I can't do that, I can't act this way because I don't want nobody to judge me. And it has held me back a lot And if I could go back, like that's one thing I would change about myself was just to be. Just that simple. Don't worry about everything. Don't worry about every move you make. Just make it. If you make mistakes, it is what it is. Handle it and keep moving, keep it moving. Yeah, that would be the biggest thing because I'm always like, and it has affected me in relationships and stuff because I'm always like, I need time to think because I don't want to say the wrong thing. I'm always like, I gotta say when I say something, I gotta say the right thing and I gotta say it the right way. And now in my relationship, it's always like, she's always like, just say how you feel. And I'm like, nah, I need time. And she's like, don't worry about it. You always worrying about how to say everything right, the right way. You're trying not to make me upset. You're trying not to make me feel a type of way. Just say it. And I'm like, I can't do that. Because all my life, I've been this way. I'm always I want to make everybody happy. I want everybody to be cool with me. I want everybody to see me as this good guy or whatever. So I'm always like, I can't say that. I can't say this. I can't do that. I can't do this. Or I can't do it this way. I can't open up. I can't, whatever it is, like, I'm very like closed off. And like even sometimes, like I'm starting to like open up. But even sometimes at home, if it's like, I'm not a dancer. I'm not a guy that dances or anything, but it's like, sometimes it's like, Chris, just open up and just dance. Just be your goofy self. But I'm like, I can't, because I feel like I'm gonna get judged. Ain't no cameras on me. It's just me and my family, the people that love me, but I still can't do it because I feel like I'm gonna look stupid. I feel like I'm gonna look crazy. Like stuff like that. So that's really the one thing I feel like if I could go back and change from a middle school kid, that would probably be the one thing.
So, if you could say anything to, hold on. If you could say anything to 18-year-old Chris, 22-year-old Chris, 16-year-old Chris, what would it be?
It's not that serious. I was a very emotional kid when it came to like relationships and girls and all that stuff. And reality of it is not that serious. And I could have saved myself a lot of hurt. I could have saved a lot of other girls from that as well. But it was just like, I was locked in and there was no changing that emotional side of me. And looking back, it's really not that serious. You know what I'm saying? Like, it's, a lot of time when it comes to like, especially when you play sports and stuff, or like you're like that top athlete, it's always like, I want to find that one in high school that don't want me for my money type deal. That's always every guy. Like if I make it big, I don't want a girl that, just wants me for my money, all this kind of craziness. But a lot of times people, even women with men, it's the same, tend to accept a lot of stuff that they don't need to, and they really deserve more. But it's like you're still trying to hold on to something and it's like it's really not that serious. Like, and now I try to like talk to, you know, my son where like he's about to hit high school, but you know, he's not opening up, but I can tell, you know, kind of they're at that stage or whatever. But whenever he starts to open up, that's probably gonna be one thing I tell him, like, look, I get it, because I've been there, but it's not that serious. Like, just, it's okay. It's okay. Let's get through it. Let's deal with it, but it's not that serious.
Gotcha, man. Well, that has been another Created Moments interview, man. We were here with another wealth of knowledge, man, and we were glad to have Chris Thompson come through and interview with us, man. We were glad to have you, man.
I appreciate you. Thank you.
And we thank you for coming through, brother. And that's been another Created Moments interview. We'll catch y'all next time.